apologies there, John Goss. Over in Legacy is where we are going to start. Yeah, and at 6-2, it's a clean match here. Winning team's into day 2. Losing team is out. You see Rio up at the top. Does have that invitational top 8. He's on the draw. So Goss will start out with a fetch land. 3 copies of Pithing Needle in the main for Rio. You see he has 2 of them in the opener.
Wouldn't be surprising to lead on that in turn 1.
And that's what he's going to do. I mean, so John will have to reveal, he'll have to crack this fetch land. Otherwise, Rio's just going to name Misty Rainforest.
Right.
How many decks do you know, if your opponent goes Bayou Pithing Needle, are you just, is it Turbo Depths?
I'm pretty sure it's just this deck. It could be some nonsense deck that
Lantern.
One person in the world plays.
Yeah,
I don't think that Lantern is the sort of deck you would play in Legacy.
The card Brainstorm really hurts the deck.
Yeah,
it's real bad.
It's not bad against them.
It's okay, maybe no one plays it. So, names Wasteland with a Pithing Needle. I like that. The Wasteland, one of the best ways to interact with the Dark Depths Thespian stage combo.
Yeah. That's the reason that you main deck this card at all. Something that you also see out of the Cloud Post decks. It's the main deck Pithing Needle for Wasteland. But they don't play Bayou. Unless someone built like a Nick Fit Cloud Post deck.
Turn 2 here for John. Will be Stoneforge Mystic. And look over at the cards he can get with it. He has 1 Batterskull, 1 Umezawa's Jite in the main.
Yeah, he got the good one.
For this matchup, certainly.
Batterskull.
Rio does have another Pithing Needle ready, so it could always needle the Stoneforge Mystic. Needle's medium, I think, in this matchup.
Yeah, Goss is playing 2 Wastelands, so that first needle is reasonable here. Not a full 4 Wastelands, but they're available.
Yeah, they're available. The issue is that, right, if Goss doesn't have one in hand, then that doesn't really do much.
Yeah. It's not a lot of different cards you can really put in this deck that is just trying to combo aggressively.
I do notice that you see right now he's consulting with teammate Becky Adlman. They all have a winter hat theme going on.
Well, it's chilly.
They're wearing T-shirts. That doesn't.
They have coats. I assume.
I don't understand the sliver of temperature we're trying to hit here. Where yes to thick wool hat, but yes to T-shirt.
Well, they're inside. I don't know if you caught that part.
Yeah, I got that actually. This is the outdoor open. We put it in Philadelphia in February or January still. Yeah, that's
perfect.
That's right. You know.
It was like 50 degrees today. It's practically
nice,
summer.
Yeah. Second Bayou found from Rio has Thoughtseize that he picked up this turn. Turbo Depths to me is always just really, it's a strange deck in that I feel like all their cards don't do anything. You know, it's just a bunch of needles and Thoughtseizes. I was like, wait, you're gonna win? Hold on. Like 4 Lotus Petals. Like, what are we even casting?
We see crop rotation that has the additional cost of sacrificing a land, and John is there with the Force of Will.
Okay. Pitches Brainstorm to it, so 2 for 2. Another Pithing Needle laid down by Rio. And that's going to name Stoneforge Mystic.
I like that little pad he has there. That's nice. Instead of ripping up pieces of paper.
I like that. Another Brainstorm from John. May just shuffle away that Batterskull now that Stoneforge has been needled.
Right. Get to work beating down with that Squire.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how the standard match will go out. Mono Red's a very powerful deck, though a lot of times these Anointed Procession decks are reasonably good against Mono Red.
If they can get set up,
Yeah.
Anointer Priest gains a lot of life.
Right. Deathrite Shaman and a swing from Stoneforge Mystic from John. Go back over to Rio, draws another crop rotation. Vampire Hexmage, crop rotation, both in hand. A lot to like on that.
It's tough. With the resources currently available, kind of has to expose the Hexmage. Doesn't have enough mana to cast that in crop rotation on the same turn.
Yeah, he doesn't have another land in hand. So he's going to fetch here for the, likely the third Bayou.
Yeah, there's not a lot of decks that play third Bayou either.
No. It's like Nick Fit, I think.
They got to play a lot of basics. They might even be a two Bayou
deck. They might
deck.
just be two Bayous. He's got 2 crop rotations.
And he does just go for the Hexmage
all right, Vampire.
here.
So this is, if this doesn't get answered, this is a very strong move from Rio. He's taking a risk, though.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you have Swords to Plowshares,
Yeah, well,
they can hit Mirror Age anyway.
his hand is 2 crop rotations and a Sylvan Library. So actually, the Sylvan Library gives him some recovery, even if John has an answer.
Sure.
He doesn't yet have a way to play around the Swords to Plowshares.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. There's not a ton that you're able to do. You'd like to get Sylvan Safekeeper online.
Yeah, that'd be ideal. Looking at the things he can crop rotate for, he has Thespian Stage, Dark Depths, 3 Urborgs. He's got a Bazooka Bog and a Ghost Quarter, and actually has a Sejiri Step. So I actually want to talk about Sejiri Step for a second. And that is protection against Swords to Plowshares here because he has 2 crop rotations.
Yeah, that's not one you see too often. It's a neat trick. You used to see a reasonable amount of pay with Knight of the Reliquary.
Yeah, when it was in Standard, this card originally from Worldwake did see play at the same time. So Rio can set up a line where he goes and grabs Dark Depths, makes a 20/20, and then if there is a Swords to Plowshares, he can actually go ahead and crop rotate for this Sejiri Step. Now, the interesting thing, or the danger here, is if Rio draws his one of Sejiri Step this turn, then the plan's off.
Yeah, I can't do anything about that.
No, I mean, it's unlikely, but it would really hurt his plans.
Yeah.
Well, John Goss's teammate, Timothy Guy on 4-color Marionette, he is up a game right now on Aiden Brier.
Well, all right. Got to figure that he has a reasonable sideboard for mono red as well.
True name Nemesis. Rio draws Thespian Stage. Didn't draw the step, so that's
good.
We're online. And John is at 16. It looks like Rio's going to be able to get this. Says go. He's going to end step the 20/20.
Yeah, he needs to fade a counter spell plus Swords to Plowshares.
Yeah, 2 pieces of interaction, whether it's counter spells,
2 Swords to Plowshares.
Swords, whatever. 2 pieces of interaction gets him. He'll beat 1. Even 1 counter spell he can beat because he has the double crop rotation.
Yeah, if it's double counter spell without Swords to Plowshares, just cast a second one for the combo.
Yeah. So, John, 1 card in hand. 2. Both cards have to be live for him to be able to fight.
Well, at least one of them's a land.
Ponders the other one. So, he doesn't have the tools to answer right now. Ponder could get them for him. You can ponder into Brainstorm, and Brainstorm can get you anything.
You always feel clever when you figure out the small possibility thing that could put you in the game.
Yeah.
But you never ponder into Brainstorm and relevant cards. It just like doesn't ever actually happen.
Yeah, when the numbers on that are really bad.
Yeah. Oh, if I just hit my...
Yeah.
My 1 hour, which is a sequence of exactly 5 cards on the top of my library. It's going to be a shuffle off the ponder, and this is a situation where you got to figure Goss will be shuffling
yeah, if
a good
he's
amount
shuffling,
of them.
I'm pretty in. I mean, John doesn't know Rio's hand, but Rio's hand's very strong right now.
Good chance he's familiar with the matchup anyway. He's going to know the hand soon.
Okay, well, we said he needed 2 relevant cards. Here's 1. Thought Season. That'll work.
Well, kind of.
Kind of. In response, Rio's just going to crop rotate.
You force the action, but you don't actually disrupt
Well,
any of it.
well, if John's second card is actually a swords, this works, and he's going to get Rio.
True. Yeah.
So if it's 2 pieces of interaction, John's
Yep,
fine.
You're right. You're right.
But I don't think his other card plays. We'll see soon enough. Rio's making the right play. He's going for Dark Depths. So that's going to set up with the Vampire Hexmage.
And Rio has Thespian Stage as well. There's some argument to make Merit Lage and then just crop rotate for the other Dark Depths.
Yeah, I mean, well, Wasteland is actually Pithing Needled, so he can just let the Thoughtseize resolve here. And John Goss looks at the board. He sees that and not liking it. He'll take the other crop rotation. But Rio's just going to go for the 20-20 most likely. If he does, I think he gets this.
Yeah.
A swing for 3 knocks Rio down to 14. All right, here's the play. In on the 20-20, and John picks it up. He doesn't have it. Game 1 goes over to Rio Trevathan.
All right, good stuff.
So, he gets 1 for his team. Timothy Guy has a game for his team. Both of them right now, they're signing up for game number 2. For Rio Trevathan and John Goss, they're going to go ahead and start to pick up their sideboards. We're going to take a short break and we'll be back to talk about how this matchup changes with the last 15 cards. We're back here with round number 9. It's Team MTG Access. Looking to get that 7th win and put them into day 2. While we were on the break there, Becky Adlman with Scape Shift. She wins game 1 in Modern. So their team up 2-1 in the game 1s. We'll go ahead and look at this. Go back to our legacy match. So I want to talk to you about the sideboard. So for Rio Trevathan's deck, his sideboard does feel a lot like it's a legacy. It's a lands deck where he's got Sphere of Resistance, Abrupt Decay, like Surgicals, and just a couple extras of other things. He doesn't have too many different avenues of attack.
Yeah, this is definitely very focused on beating very specific things. So we look at the sideboard, 4 Sphere of Resistance, 4 Abrupt Decay, 3 Surgical Extraction, 2 Sylvan Library, a Caracas, and a Pithing Needle. None of the things that he's really choosing to focus on his sideboard are what John Goss is presenting. Yeah,
now he has these Sylvan Libraries. These are copies number 2 and 3. This might be matched up with Sylvan Libraries pretty good. I'm surprised he's playing all the way up to 3 copies of the card. That's a ton.
I think that the reason that you see that is because he's green-black.
Okay.
So I've played a number of Sultai decks in Legacy, and you play Sylvan Library, but you board it out any place where you don't want to pay 8 life. But the thing about Rio's deck, he doesn't have a choice. If he wants to draw extra cards, he has to do this.
Okay.
Because he doesn't have Brainstorm. And he's a combo deck, so he can more often afford to pay 8 life.
Okay, so he's all the way... And this, I would think, is a matchup where he can do that. So does he go up to 3 then?
I don't think this is a matchup. Because of True Nemesis, there's enough threats over here. Deathrite Shaman can make it problematic to pay that much life.
So we've been looking more like if he's playing against lands or something, he might just go all the way up on these.
Something like that. A matchup where you're really not getting your life total pressured.
All right, now John, as the Answers deck, playing Control here, he's going to get better in the second game. His sideboard is 3 Surgical Extraction, 3 Zealous Persecution, 2 Council's Judgment, 2 Flusterstorm, 2 Meddling Mage, and then a Sylvan Library of his own, a Leovold, and a Sword of Fire and Ice. That'd be his 3rd Leovold.
Now, John actually does have some significant upgrades
Yeah,
here.
I do like what his strategy could be.
The big ones are going to be Flusterstorm and Meddling Mage.
All right.
There's going to be situations where maybe you can Council's Judgment because you Baleful Strix, block Merit Lage, set up for Council's Judgment. That can happen.
What's he trying to Meddling Mage?
So you can Meddling Mage for Living Wish in this matchup, Crop Rotation. He's a Thoughtseize deck, so he can just look at the hand, choose something that he sees.
Okay.
Vampire Hex Mage, another reasonable one to Meddling Mage.
Yeah, the scary thing is Rio's deck's pretty fast at presenting its win conditions, so I feel like John may have to shoot in the dark on Meddling Mage sometimes.
I mean, if you're registering this card, you have to be able to just name a card.
Okay.
You have to have the format knowledge to do things like that.
Do you like Surgical Extraction at all here?
It's a combo 2 ways, I guess, if you use Surgical Dark Depths, but then they can still Living Wish for their 4th Dark Depths usually. So you can't really Surgical them off of anything. I don't think it's particularly good here.
All right.
Another thing about Sylvan Library is against the Leovold decks, that card is very bad. You do not want to activate that card if your opponent has Leovold.
Well, John will be on the play here for the second game. You see all 3 matches here shuffling up for their game 2s. We'll keep you updated on as many of them as possible.
Not as bad as casting Brainstorm, but you know.
Do you see some options from John Goss to get away from some of the clunkier threats here? Baleful Strix, not really something that plays.
You want it for some games to bridge the gap between when you can answer Merit Lage and the turn, just having that flying blocker around. Baleful Strix also pitches the Force of Will.
John Goss going to 6 cards here on a mulligan. Now, if you haven't had time to check out the weekly sale over at StarCityGames.com, we have a different item on sale every week on our store. This last week, we've had over 1,000 different MTG singles, all reduced to $1. You see some examples of them here. That is still going on through this weekend, so you want to head over and check out the selection at StarCityGames.com/weekly sale. Also, make sure to check in Monday morning when we have next week's weekly sale.
Lot of nice commons, I'm sure, if you want to check out that Pauper Classic at SCGCon.
All right.
Maybe you want to Crop Rotate for a Tron land.
Okay. Now I'm thinking here,
There used to be a mono green Pauper deck.
We have our first match result in, and this is a big one. Over on the standard side, it is Timothy Guy on 4-color Marionette. He's a 2-0 winner over Aiden Brier. So that match is done. So that means that both Rio and Becky are going to need to win their matches. Now, fortunately, they're both up a game.
Yep.
But there's no margin of error left.
There's a small margin of error. They can both lose a game.
Right. So one thing what we'll see here then is for Aiden and Timothy, they're going to be able to come and help their teammates then for the rest of this match as they are done as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we're underway. John starts out on Deathrite Shaman. He mulliganed to 6. Looks like Rio has brought in Abrupt Decay for the matchup as well.
It'll buy you time against the Stoneforge Mystic draws.
Yep. Turn 1, Thoughtseize. I mean, when your opponent's mulliganing to 6 on the play, Thoughtseize is really nice, and this is no exception. He sees Wasteland, Flooded Strand, Ponder, and Force of Will.
If he could take his pick, he'd like to take the Wasteland. Obviously, that's not an option.
Yeah, I mean, I want to take the Ponder here. My opponent's already down 2 cards. Mm-hmm. Force of Will is another 2-for-1. Sure, let's just mess up his hand.
Yeah, unless Rio's hand is not doing much of anything, I do agree that the Ponder is a good target. If he's got it set up where he can combo one time and isn't really sure about how the game looks after that, if it doesn't resolve, you could just go for the Force of Will.
Yeah, he may have to take Force of Will just because that's what his hand makes him do.
Right.
See, now you see he's talking with teammate Aiden Brier over from the standard match. Can his hand beat a Force of Will if John draws a blue card? I think that would be the question. Force of Will is one of the best cards in the matchup for John. And he's going to try to beat it. He'll take Ponder. This leaves Rio a little vulnerable, but it takes away a lot of John's control in the game. He's playing off the top of his deck now.
Right.
Draw here does not look like a blue card.
It is a blue card.
Oh, it's labeled. It's gold. Okay.
It is, in fact, a blue creature that he can cast on turn 2 because of that fetch land.
Yeah, he can use this right away. Now, it takes down Force of Will. Still worth doing, though?
It depends. The thing about Leovold is it's not super high impact in the matchup. Again, this is not a Brainstorm or a Ponder deck. It's also not a deck that's really trying to target your permanents. However, John does have to get a clock on the battlefield.
Yeah, and Deathrite Shaman's not enough. So it looks like he's deciding to make Leovold, which means his counter magic is down again. At least for one more turn. Now, once he has Deathrite Shaman and Leovold, once he hits a blue card for Force of Will, he's made.
Yes.
Right? He can just start attacking for 3, maybe draining for 5 per turn. He can just play defense. This is really his last offensive move. That first ability, each opponent cannot draw more than 1 card per turn. A Nightmare and Legacy, but actually Rio's deck's pretty fair in this regard.
He has a lot of things that search for cards, and Leovold just doesn't interact with that. It doesn't turn off Crop Rotation, doesn't turn off Living Wish.
Now, Rio does have an Abrupt Decay in his hand, which means he either has to choose to not cast Abrupt Decay, or if he wants to use it on one of John's creatures, he will give John an extra card.
Yeah, the way the game's going so far, doesn't have any reason to be casting Abrupt Decay anyway.
Yeah, he's just going to make Vampire Hexmage here on turn 2. He's just deciding not to play not to interact. He's really just going to go for a fast win, and I like that because he knows what John's draw was. He knows that John has a Force of Will and no blue card yet, so trying to win fast here makes sense.
Right. The other piece of the combo, he has Dark Depths in his hand. Doesn't even need to search for that one. That's not a spell.
Yeah, so John has about 2 draws to do something. Well, actually, wait, if the Dark Depths is in his hand, Force of Will might not even play anymore.
Yeah, Force of Will doesn't do anything about
Everything's resolved.
that. He needs to draw like Path to X, or Swords to Plowshares right now.
Or Wasteland. Wasteland is... We had Wasteland, right? We saw that off the Thoughtseize. Labeled attacks Rio down to 14. This Wasteland is big. It means that Dark Depths is not going to make a 2020 just yet.
So Rio has Crop Rotation. He can set up to combo and then combo again in response to the Wasteland by finding Thespian Stage.
Yeah, but you can't do it with Hexmage because Hexmage makes you actually sacrifice the Vampire. Is that Ghost Quarter?
I mean, Ghost Quarter is nice. Sacrificing the Vampire wouldn't stop anything from comboing twice. Because you just activate Thespian Stage.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, if he has the stage. Now, Sylvan Safekeeper played here. Okay, that'll protect the 2020 once it's made.
Does not protect lands.
No, but the Ghost Quarter in play could work.
Yeah.
He can go with that Wasteland. Now, if you ever try to Ghost Quarter away a Wasteland, you get blown out a bit here. Their opponent gets 2 of your lands.
Yeah, but none of the lands that Rio really cares about.
Right, it's probably still the right move.
Kind of the bad side is because of the Leovold, John will be able to draw a card.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, Leovold's a great Magic card.
I like the timing here for Rio, though. If he does his end step, that means that John won't be able to draw another Wasteland. You know, if that's the card that's drawn off the Ghost Quarter, triggering the Leovold.
Timing that bonus card does matter.
I think that's a Swords to Plowshares that John picked up, but the Safekeeper covers that.
Safekeeper. It still looks like Rio has it set up right. He's running out of time, though. He's down to 9. What John's doing is he's trying to force Rio to act sooner than he wants to. Ghost Quarter on the Wasteland. He's doing this one right. See if John should draw the card here. He wants to remember that.
I would announce a trigger. Uh-oh.
Nah, John. I will have some sympathy here. I'm really bad with triggers. So when I play a team event, I inform my teammates of this, and I tell them, hey, make me draw a card. Like, make this happen. It's a beneficial trigger, so Rio does not have to remind John about it. If someone recalls it, Rio can choose whether or not John draws the card. But I do like this. With that trigger on, John is going to Swords to Plowshares away the Vampire Hexmage. Rio gives it Shroud.
Yep, sacrifices that swamp, so that means that you won't
Here's
have a
the Dark
land
Depths,
up.
yep. Okay, so far so good. This looks like it's going to work. He can't use that Force of Will. Has no blue card. It doesn't even matter anyway. It doesn't counter anything.
John really needs to draw Swords to Plowshares again.
Again?
Yeah, because
And
Rio's
even
now
then, Rio
out
just
of
counters
lands.
it. He just counters it with a land drop.
Not if he forces
Not if he end steps it?
Yeah. It depends when it happens. Because the Deathrite Shaman's also a relevant clock that does not have to engage in combat.
So here's the 2020.
I don't think Rio had time to wait on that either.
Yeah, he did that main phase in case John draws Wasteland.
Yeah, Swords is a relevant draw step here.
So he has to pass. So John has one draw. John's going to drain Rio down to 7. Get him to 5. You know, if there's a creature in the graveyard, and there is, actually, John, hold on, he can go to 21.
It's true. He doesn't have any attacks this turn.
No, it's not great. It gives him another chance to...
Gives him a draw step.
Gives him a draw step.
But if Rio has a land, and he does, that's...
Safekeeper's online
Yeah,
again.
we're not
Yeah,
drawing to Swords anymore.
He's probably still fine.
And
he passes, yep. So he's John on his last out here. He's going to go to 1. Rio timed all these things in the correct windows, too.
Yep, solid navigation.
Now, over on the Modern table, Kyle Kurtz takes game 2. So if it comes down to the Modern match, and it's looking like it might, it's going to be Becky Adlman versus Kyle Kurtz, and that's going to decide which team goes to day 2. Right now, it looks like Rio's going to get the legacy match here.
The team's having a think about it.
Okay, they just want to make sure they're not missing anything.
Yeah, Expedition map was the draw for Rio this turn. I think they're talking about
Yeah.
whether they want to crack this fetch land, cast that. I don't think it matters at all.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd want to. Here's a swing for 20. John can stay alive. Deathrite Shaman gains 2 life. He goes to 21, takes a huge hit down to 1, and Rio passes. With that land in play, I don't see a draw for John. He doesn't have Maze of Ith or anything. He could draw Jace. No, wait.
Can't.
No. Sylvan Safekeeper's messed up.
Covers all that stuff.
Swing Rio down to 4. John could put him down to 2 with the Deathrite Shaman. Does he have Collective Brutality? Does he play it?
Neither
draw.
main nor side.
And John says, go. I think this is going to be Rio's match.
It's looking good.
It's looking good. It's got to remember to turn. Don't cast the Thoughtseize in your hand.
Yeah, don't, that would be bad.
That turns it sideways, and that's going to be the match. So Rio Trevathan takes the legacy match. So that's going to even things up, which means it's all going to come down to Modern.
And we're entering game 3 here for Modern. Becky Adlman,
All right.
Kyle Kurtz.
And we are going to bring you over to that match. They're just starting game number 3. Becky is back on the play here on Red-Green Scapeshift. Turn 1, search for tomorrow. She'll remove a suspend counter from it. On Scapeshift version, it's a slower build, which should actually help her in this matchup. She's got cards like Prismatic Omen in the list. And additional Haymakers. The 4 Primeval Titans, 2 Hour of Promise, and 4 Scapeshift all available here.
Hour of Promise has been a pretty nice upgrade for the Escape Shift decks.
Yeah, I mean, it just gives you more things to do. This one, she has 2 Summoners packs, so it's okay. I mean, you used to play 4 packs, but now it's 2 packs, 2 Hour of Promise. But it does help you on the curve better, especially when you have a turn 1 search for tomorrow, because turn 1 search, turn 2 ramp gets you to Hour of Promise, so you can have it on turn 3, whereas pacting for a Titan was really a turn 4 play.
Yeah.
5 o'clock standard challenge. Your next round pairings are being posted. Again, measure players in the 5 o'clock standard challenge.
But no play on turn 1 for Kurtz. That's a good sign for Becky.
Yeah, no discard spell there.
What the cards you're most scared of from the Scapeshift side is really Death Shadow, Teamer Battle Rage, and a bunch of Thought Seizes. Out of the sideboard, sometimes they play Disdainful Strokes, which is just great, but Kyle doesn't have any.
Yeah. Does have the 4th Stubborn Denial. That one plays against most of the Scapeshift deck.
Yeah, especially that, you're right, it does. Primeval Titan gets around it, but it will stop Scapeshift, Our Promise, and Summoner's Pact. Fetch Shock for Kyle down to 14. And here's Collective Brutality. It's not, that one's only okay here. He's going to use the Duress mode. And you see for her, 2 Obstinate Baloths and a Primeval Titan. That's a swing and a miss for Kyle. And you know, there was a chance that was going to happen. Because she played turn 2 with no ramp spell, it either means A, Cinderglade and Valakuts were her only lands, so I guess this is how this works. Or B, she just doesn't have a ramp spell to play.
Yep. There's not much else she can do with that Brutality, but yeah, missing, not ideal.
No, so she'll get a turn 3 Obstinate Baloth. And we'll see how that plays out. Baloths out of the Scapeshift deck rarely win the game. They're just really speed bumps.
Interestingly, Kurz does have a Dismember in his hand.
Yeah, he's got a Dismember Liliana of the Veil. So despite these first few turns going really wrong for him, I do think he still has play here. Becky will make the Baloth. That will force some action on that Liliana of the Veil. You'll likely just see her hang on to the second Baloth and not cast it.
Well, I imagine, certainly if Kurz has a Death Shadow, they'll play as Dismember Death Shadow.
That would be great. Yeah.
Dismember also is a relevant card as we build up towards casting a Delve Threat. Kyle needs a creature pretty quick.
Yeah, he needs a creature. You know, with the removal spells, he even could still keep going to work with Liliana. The card, I mean, 2 Baloths is good against it. We'll see how he wants to play it here. Fetch down to 13 for Kurz. See if he wants to go 13 or 11. Against Scapeshift, it's pretty safe to get very low on life points. When they win, as long as you're below 18, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, you see in the hand, there are some games where you play a blue deck. Death Shadow is more proactive than many of them. But if you give yourself too many points, sometimes they just make 8 land drops and Valakut just ends the game.
Yeah, if they're getting to 8 lands in this matchup, you're probably sunk anyway. But you're right.
No, it's just like 8 land drops and no spells. It's like 3 or 6 damage. But against Death Shadow, you can kill them with 6 damage.
Yeah, sometimes just like 4 lands, 3 Farseeks. If 2 of your lands are Valakut, could just embarrass them.
Yeah.
Looks like there's a Teamer Battle Rage in Kyle's hand. If he gets a creature in play, that's going to be good. Now the whole team's in on the play. He might even want to take a hit off the Obstinate Baloth, depending on how his hand works.
Sometimes that is true. He is already sub 13, though.
Yeah, well, if you have a Battle Rage, you actually want to get real low.
Yeah. Dismember does him some points. Probably has more ways to deal damage. Most of his deck does just deal damage to him.
Yeah.
I think I see Dismember Gurmake Angler. That'd be the 5th card in the graveyard, and he has 3 lands, so that's a pretty clean turn here.
It's not bad. It's no Death Shadow. But that's what they're going to go for. Yeah, you're right.
Can't cast the spells you haven't drawn.
Dismember. And if it's a Gurmag Angler, this life gain off the Baloths is pretty relevant. So Kyle down to 7. That's where he wants to be, though. He's got a Battle Rage and the Zombie Fish.
Ooh.
Death Shadow. Okay, he'll pass. That's a lot scarier.
Yes.
Becky draws Scapeshift. Casts another Baloth. Her hand is Primeval Titan Scapeshift, but I don't believe she has land 6.
Nope. Yeah,
so
just
as
those
is
2.
Frequently the case, you're hitting the top of the deck with the Valakut, but when it hits, you're made.
Yeah, there's a good amount of lands.
If she gets land for Primeval Titan next turn with all the life she's gained, I doubt Kyle can do anything about it.
And he has that Teamer Battle Rage, and he has a fetch land, but you can't deal 27 in 1 turn with that.
No, 24 is the most. That's possible. Now, after she's made 2 Baloths, there's some temptation to plus the Liliana here. And that's scarier because then if Becky draws something like Farseek, she's between a rock and a hard place.
All right, so for Kurz, if you crack the fetch, untap Shockland, go to 4.
Yeah.
If you Liliana, get rid of the Baloth, you connect here for 10, and then you have Battle Rage that would be lethal the following turn.
You connect for 9, right? Or did I miss one?
Yeah, you're right, it's 9.
So she'd go to 18.
You go to 18, and the Battle Rage with no blocker is still lethal.
But she's going to make a Primeval Titan if she draws,
if she draws a land. The Primeval Titan, he doesn't really have something that stops that from happening, I don't believe.
Right.
And if the Primeval Titan blocks, I suppose Escape Shift, she'd have enough lands to Escape Shift for lethal.
Right.
He doesn't know about the Escape Shift. He does know about the Titan.
And he can go to 4 if there's no configuration of lands where she can deal 6 with the Titan. She does actually have a play if she draws a land where she can make the Titan and immediately deal 3 if she gets Valakut and Mountain 6. Because that one basic forest is actually is hurting her a bit right now.
Yeah.
If it were a Valakut, it would be better. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter. So Kyle can go to 4. He shouldn't go to 3 because the Titan just actually kills him.
And then Becky wants a land. She really does not want it to be the second basic forest.
All right, fetch shock to 4. Kyle is picking that line. This does leave lethal in 2 attacks. So Liliana, -2. Baloth's gone. He's going to attack for 9, Becky to 18. If she draws a land, we think she's good. We'll see. It's going to be close. And Gurmag Angler. Oh my. Actually, this might not. Kyle might have this one even if she draws the land.
Yeah, that's 5 more points there.
Draw here. What'd she pick up? Sakura Tribe Elder. That's not going to be enough.
It looks good from her position here, but she doesn't know about the Battle Rage.
Battle Rage is such a scary card in this matchup. She's got to know. I mean, she's aware of it, but there's nothing she can do about it.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't know that Kyle has it right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
yeah, there's no play.
So it's 17 trample off the Death's Shadow. She can block Gurmag Angler, and if he doesn't have a way to deal another point of damage to himself, it's actually not lethal.
It's still 18. If you Battle Rage the Angler.
Yeah. There's no
9.
way around it, is there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 9 and 9. I don't think she can survive this attack. Here's Serum Visions from Kyle. Draws into Thoughtseize. I don't know that I want to cast that when my opponent has a Lightning Bolt, his Lightning Bolt deck.
Yeah. Also, he just sees his attacks are lethal, so.
Yeah, Teamer Battle Rage is such a scary card in this matchup. You're a red-green deck, and once a creature has 4 toughness, you can't do anything about it.
So he has lethal Battle Rage. What do you suppose they're concerned about where they're looking at the stuff they're scrying?
Well, if you don't win this turn, you're done.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably just has his teammates making him anxious.
Goss, Kurz, and Guy, all 3 of them just they want to get this one right. They're thinking about casting the Thoughtseize. She does not have the Lightning Bolt to punish the play. I think if they cast it, it's more of a risk than I'd want to take.
Yeah, it's not like there's like a flash blocker or fog that you should be concerned about.
I like not using the Liliana. So, a block by Sakura Tribe Elder.
Battle Rage.
Yeah. Teamer Battle Rage on it. It's going to be 18 points of trample. It'll trample over for 17. The Angler should seal this up. The 2 cards in Becky's hand cost 6 and 4. They're not castable here. That's going to do it. Just double check.
Yeah, you want to make sure you're not missing
Yeah, if
anything.
she had one more turn would do it, but she's not going to get one. And there is the handshake. So a hard-fought Game 3 there. It is the team of John Goss, Kyle Kurz, and Timothy Guy, though. They pick up the win, and with 7-2, they'll be coming back for day 2.